Hi there. How are you? Welcome back to M Talks. We were talking about sales and marketing, specifically marketing. And it's a constantly changing dynamics. The marketplace is constantly changing. The need for the customers, the way they look at things, the way they perceive things keeps changing. So marketing is a very important tool to help us reach out to them, whether it's a product or a service. But then again, with so much happening, it gets very confusing as well. So, in order not to lose focus, to understand what basically has to be done, how to make a marketing plan or a strategy or a program effective, we have to go back and look at some of the basic objectives of marketing. Because, like I said, marketing is an expense which cannot be directly attributed to conversion, to volumes, to numbers. So one has to be very careful, choose the right strategy, choose the right vehicle to actually do this activity. But if you were to look at it, if you were to break it down, marketing has just two basic objectives. One is to create visibility. And when I say create visibility, to make sure that people are aware of a product or service, if it's a new one that is being launched, or even if it is an existing product or a service, you must realize that there is a lot of competition coming in the same space every other day. And there are a lot of people out there putting their products out. So for you to be remembered by the customer, you have to be there visible in the space that they are in. So we're talking about two things here. First strategy is visibility, sure, but you have to identify where your target audience is and make yourself visible in that space. That's what we're talking about, choosing the right vehicle. We will move on to that. The second most critical objective is to create a value proposition. What do I mean by this? There has to be some value when you're creating a marketing program, when you're creating a visibility, you have to translate some value that the product or service that you're talking about brings out to them. Only then it will make a difference. If you're talking about just, okay, fine, we have this product, we have this service, sure, great, people get to know that this is available. But what that means to them, how does that translate into a benefit for them, is again a message that has to go across. Otherwise, it's not going to be of any importance to them. People are not going to sit up and take notice. So these are the two things, whether it's a new product or an existing product, creating visibility, being in the space where your customers are, number one. Two, creating a value proposition, making sure that they realize that the product or service you're talking about is going to bring some value to them. These two are the most important factors that you have to consider when you're looking at a marketing program or a strategy or a campaign or whatever else you want to call it. Now, there are different ways to do this. That's where the type of marketing you're looking at comes into play. Okay, there are budget constraints and a lot of other things, yes. But within what you have, how best to reach your target audience and how best to translate this value proposition to them in a message is something that you have to understand and put together in a good marketing plan. Okay, taking it from the top. How do you understand which is the right vehicle to choose to reach out to them? So first you need to understand who your target audience is. What is the product? What is the service? Who is it aimed at? Who is it aimed at in terms of translating into maximum value or benefit? Are we talking about students? Are we talking about office goers? Are you talking about the male profile, lady profile? Are we talking about people, sports people? There are various categories that you probably have to break it down into and figure out who your target audience is. And once you know who they are, you have to then identify where they spend their time, which space they spend their time. Do they look at, or do they drive around a lot, which means then you have to look at large hoardings? Are they people who read? If they're elderly, then they read a lot. So then you're looking at newspapers, media. Are these people watching a lot of sports channels? So then you have to look at television. So the vehicle you choose to actually make your product or service visible and also translate the value proposition to them, you have to figure out very clearly. And today there are various different types of visibility activities that one can do. We talk about, I mean, those days we used to talk about above the line and below the line. Above the line meaning print and television, hoardings, and so on and so forth, which were expensive, but they actually reached out effectively. Below the line, we talk about brochures, we talk about point of sale material, we talk about small placards and stands at the point of sale, and all those flyers, all those things. Now there is a different iteration with a huge amount of social media kicking in and people really getting caught up with that. Social media marketing, or digital marketing, as you would like to call it, has become a big space in itself. And then again, you have to categorize which kind of space, what kind of space does your target audience normally prevail in? If you're talking about social media, are they more Facebook users, Instagram users? Are they TikTok users? Whatever, you have to identify where they spend more time in. One. And number two, you know that the retention space in social media is very low. So within the time window that you get, you have to make your campaign or your value proposition hit them. It has to be translated very effectively. That's when, or that's where you talk about, you know, compressing a message, an effective message that reaches out to them, that makes them understand you're talking about a product which is of value to them. So these are different things that people have to do before they actually put together an effective marketing program or a campaign. Having said that, what is more important, or what is, apart from the objectives and apart from what you plan to achieve, apart from the budgets, and apart from a lot of other things that one has to work with to put together something which is impactful, the most important is for you to know your product or service thoroughly. Unless you understand what your product or service is, understand how it translates into some benefit to your target audience, you will not be able to design an effective marketing program or a campaign. So first of all, that's the groundwork that needs to be done. That's what you need to understand before you take it to the market and talk about it and make people aware of it, and then talk about different value propositions. And today people talk about branding, branding and logos. A lot of time spent on logo design and branding, and it's very important, believe you me, because when people look at a brand or a logo for, like example, the American Express blue box or the Pepsi or whatever, there is something that comes to their mind. Yes, the logo or the brand has to translate into something in their minds. Yeah, sure. But the logo per se or the branding per se is not that important. I mean, you can associate any logo, any brand with a certain value. So what's important is to combine both and take it as a package, so that when you're doing the next marketing campaign or when you're doing further campaigns, you don't have to go the whole hog again. Just for example, if you see a blue box, you know it's American Express. So that's the kind of brand attention that the logo brings you. Or if you look at, the Pepsi logo, the round logo, or the Adidas, or whatever it is, immediately, or the mind immediately jumps to the product, jumps to certain value that the product brings to the table. So that's what branding and logo is all about. I mean, yes, time has to be spent in making sure it's unique and different and people resonate with it. All that is good. But per se, by themselves, they don't really bring too much value to the table. I mean, they hype it up a lot, but it's not really important. So these are the things that you have to consider before you work on an effective marketing program. First of all, understand the product. Two, understand the objectives of the campaign. Three, understand where your target audience, where their space is, which space they are in. And four, which is the most effective vehicle to reach out to them. if you're able to do that efficiently, and all this, of course, within the budget that you have, because like I said, a marketing program or the marketing spend, forgive me, does not translate into volumes immediately. It just creates a demand, it just creates a pull. That's it. Then you have to further that with a lot of other activities to actually convert it into business for you. We will talk about that aspect maybe in the later videos. However, this is what I wanted to share with you in this video. I hope you found it useful. If you like it, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button if you want to subscribe for further videos. And do hit the notification buttons so that you know when further videos are posted, you get notified. In the meanwhile, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy. Bye for now.